This is the hieroglyphics. The whole hieroglyphics is in symbols.
The emojis emojis on your phone is a symbol. I saw it.
Hold on. I just want to pass this around. This is a graph that pretty much sums up a lot of what we're talking about. Here it has the total environment, and then going down you have the physical, social, political, cultural. Going down to the brain computer, going down to symbols, logic, thought, speech, action, emotional response, perception, and dreams. And then from these at the bottom, Young explains in his book, Man and His Symbols, Approaching the Unconscious. A symbol is a term, a name, or even a picture that may be familiar in daily life, yet that possesses specific connotations in addition to its conventional and obvious meaning. Case in point, black. Like, we could all define black, you know what I'm saying? Like pretty simple. Like the word itself, we could define it. But it's the connotation, it's the emotion, it's everything else that's associated with that makes it.
Kind of goes back to what you're talking about the cartoons and stuff. I'm grown as hell, but I love some cartoons. And it's like, man, I watch these cartoons, and I'm just like the one I'm on right now is Naruto. I'm just like, Naruto. This my man. I'm like, Naruto goes. But even out of everybody in this cartoon, you got Sasuke, you got Shikamaru, you got every other white boy that looks Asian, the pasty white skin. But the main character is a white boy, white, blonde, with blue eyes. And I'm just sitting here like, nah, that was on purpose. So, in my geek mode, I was watching some YouTube videos, and the artist, the author of the cartoons, he was talking about, I made Naruto white with blonde and blue eyes to appeal to America. It was on purpose.
And it worked.
He said,
and you watch every episode.
Oh, do watch. I'm not gonna lie. I wish every time I look at Naruto, I'm like, I wish you were black, man. Cause you and your father, you gone. White boys.
I feel you, man. I feel you. But most other people would look at that and instead of saying, I wish you were black, they subconsciously they saying, dang, I wish I was white. Because then I could be like Naruto.
Exactly.
Or you could be like, take it even as simple as Dragon Ball Z. Why is the Super Saiyan Aaron? That's the highest race. And they're talking about this being a race.
In the whole universe.
This Saiyan race.
The whole universe.
That's true.
Which were 8. That's really shit. They start off as 8.
It start off as 8.
You power up. But then power up goes to
Y'all turning into Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. They reading all this.
On the consensus on our symbolism. Then it shows just in the interactions that we have with various continentals that there's a very real lack of history on both of our parts, right? And it makes me think that there is a concerted effort to miseducate not just Africans in the diaspora, but Africans on the continent as well. And it goes to what's their sole purpose? Genetic annihilation. So in order to prevent me from having genetic annihilation, I'm going to use the divide and rule concept amongst all of you, and I want you to call yourself Afro-Brazilians. I want you to call yourself Afro-Haitians. I want you to call yourself Afro-Jamaicans. I want you to call yourself Afro-Trinidadians. And this is why it's a problem. Because now what's going on in the diaspora in the Caribbean, it's the most amazing shit ever. It's out of many people come one, right? So instead of I'm an Indian Trinidadian, and you're a Chinese Trinidadian, and I'm an African Trinidadian, oh no, we just train. Instead of you being an Asian Jamaican, and he's a Hindi Jamaican, and I'm being an Afro-Jamaican, oh no, we're just Jamaicans. This is just Jamaican. So you always have to be conscious of how they rewrite that one narrative and how easy it is to rewrite only one narrative and go to your point that we have to have more than one narrative. We have to have more. And the African, I would say this, and I feel strongly about saying this, though my mom is Jamaican. As the African American has one of the most prevalent, the most relevant, the most important story to tell because it has not been told in its proper fashion and it hasn't been mass produced in its proper fashion. Like we as Africans here, if you understand symbolism, this whole damn city is symbolism. This is Banneker City. And Baltimore is Tubman City. And it was designed to be such. The shape of the buildings, the streets, the fact that they're in alphabetical order or numeric order is not a coincidence. It was a design. In biology, there's a mantra. Form equals function. If you don't understand the form of something, how could you ever understand the function? So until you understand the form of our symbolism and other symbolism, there's no way we can have anything other than a shallow insight into its function. And that's the problem. And that's why we don't function well together. We don't know who we are. They don't know who they are. They're running, it's like we're running in the opposite directions. I'm running on the yard in Howard. I got on the African medallion. I'm an African American. And then you see the African come down here with his Joseph A. Banks suit on. And his Sundays are best, but he might have on some clocks. He might have on some hater blockers. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like we're running past one another.
Yeah.
And it goes how to show you how deeply entrenched white supremacy is in the actual all 9 areas of people activity. And how it manifests itself on a daily basis. I'm not preaching. No more preaching. No more preaching.
Yeah, so being born and raised in Trinidad, what you said is true. We kind of look at ourselves as Trinidadians.
Right.
Yeah, as one. But that is not to say that we deny our African heritage or like pick one over the other. Okay? The reason why it's easier for us to sort of claim both is because of the nature of our culture within Trinidad and Tobago. We don't have a lot of, when you identify with America, okay, you identify with the European. Alright, although we were slaves and we went through all of that, we don't experience racism. We think, and I'm saying this because, like I said, I was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago. We think we experience racism because, you know, we have our cultural differences and we get into we don't have racism. I never experienced racism until I came here. White people don't even behave the way they behave there. They don't behave the same way that they behave when they're here. So what I'm saying is basically, we don't pick one over the other. It's not, we don't disassociate ourselves with being African when we say we're Trini. It's just that we don't have to pick one over the other because it's not that conflict. That's the best way I could explain it. In other words, like, I always have considered myself, I never had a doubt in my mind to be African. But our culture is pretty tied to, it's deeply, it's African in nature. And it's
very true.
We don't have to pick one. We can do both by being.
We met different type of training though. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So we are rapping about that.
You know, there's
different experiences.
Exactly. They're different
So
types of
Yeah.
Americans. But I was just, wanted to say that, that's why all trees, I'm talking about black Trinidadians, we can say that without having to, override the African populace because
we are majority black population as well.
No, we're not. We are majority East Indian population.
It's majority?
Yes, majority. But that's beside the point. Like I said, the culture, that's true. We are majority East Indian population.
I believe it. Hey, let's
I'm just saying.
I'm not going to argue because the training man that I met is just.
the dog test. So I did the dog test, yo. All I did was put the white Barbie doll and the black Barbie doll, the black baby doll and the white baby doll. And I said, which one of these is prettier? He pointed to the white one. Right. You know what I'm saying? And which, the Barbie dolls, you know what I'm saying? I said, which one of those is a nicer lady? He pointed to the white one. And I said, okay, well, why do you think that one's pretty? And he said, because she's white. Straight up, like, because she's white. I had no idea where that came from, but just to know how subliminally that was in her.
Dang, it's like you over there trying to teach yourself.
Like, I had no idea where it's coming from. Like, he only watches basic like he watches the simplest cartoons. I know everything. It's so.
The reason why it's still a benefit is because that brings the two different cultures into interaction with each other, and hopefully, there can be some positives that can grow from that. There's some that communities can learn from each other. What I've seen that, but more often I've seen people staying in their own lane and basically looking at each other not as being a brother. But you have to understand, you know, Ethiopians, they had their own internal issues amongst themselves. African Americans, we have our own internal issues amongst ourselves. So when you bring two groups of people that already have their own internal issues together, I mean, you just don't know you don't know what's going to come of that all the time. But
those are two cultures that are propagated to view each other in negative light. You know what I'm saying? Black people, I mean, my only knowledge of Ethiopians was what I saw on like Feed the Children, you know, skinny people with fat stomachs, malnourished with flies in their eyeballs, and they're not moving them. It's like, why you not moving this fly? You know what I mean? So it's like, we're propagated to view, you know, continental Africans a certain way, and then vice versa, you know?
But basically, let me make my point. The point I was trying to make is she talks about the danger of the single story.
Yeah.
That's her TED Talk. Basically, when you only have one narrative of a group, then you become you're trapped into that narrative, trying to fit everything to make sense into that. And when you see somebody try to pigeonhole them into that, so it's like be very careful of the things that we do and the type of judgments that we make on other people that are different from us, because the hands that you're pointing, they're pointing back at you. Ask yourself, how much do you really know about their culture? Because maybe they should have said something that's ignorant to you, but do you know the intricacies of their culture? I mean, the way that we're set up in America, we have to admit, even as black people in America, the American culture is still permeated throughout us. So we're very African American centric. That's what I would say. We are very, we know of our own experience. It is not just us. Different groups around the world, people are sometimes just more into their own group. But the thing about it is that sometimes we are trying to sum up the whole black experience into the African American experience. And so we don't understand why other groups don't have the same relationship with slavery and we do. But look, that person knows where they come from. You know, they have a different relationship. They're going to move differently. They weren't stripped from that. You know, so they're going to move differently. You can't expect them to feel the same way that you feel.
Like, you can't tell one person how to be African. Like, there's so many cultures in Africa. It's like, how can you pinpoint what's African? Like, you can't tell an African that's born in America they're not African. Like, it's crazy. Like, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was born in New Jersey. But my other ancestors were born in Liberia. Like, how the hell can you tell me I'm less African because one person was born in New Jersey? Like, you didn't choose to be born in New Jersey. Right. It's like, so I don't like that sentiment at all. Like, it's just,
everybody in this room, we all black, so therefore we all are pro-black. Born in Heisenberg is saying there's no way that you can tie everything together because it's too complex. Just understand it. Einstein is saying, maybe the black thing is not a good example, but Einstein is saying that we're all black, so because we're all black, the laws of the universe make it to where we all have a common interest in being black. You know what I'm saying? That underlying commonality is there among all energy fields. So Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is saying that in order to figure out this psychosocial issue of racism and sexism and homosexuality and all that we need an underlying theory to describe all of it. And that's what she means by saying that she's more inclined to Einstein's camp, by saying that there has to be some through its umbrella objective and its patterns of logic, thought, speech, action, emotional response, perception, and symbols in all areas of people activity. Can anybody name the 9 areas of people activity?
Labor,
Education, law, entertainment.
religion, sex, politics, and labor.
Religion, sex.
Oh, labor,
Labor.
entertainment, yeah, and yeah, I said education. War. Yeah, that was the one we missed out on. I already said so.
However, it's okay. It works.
I already said so.
So those are the 9 areas of people activity that she mentions earlier in the book, and I think her first essay, and she's pretty much saying that white supremacy is effective through those 9, through those 9 factions of human interaction. Yeah.
So you say she's saying it impacts all 9 areas of human intervention?
Yeah.
Oh, human activity. I'm sorry.
She's saying those are the areas of people activity.
Gotcha.
Those are the 9 areas of people activity.
Yeah.
And white supremacy infects all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It works through all.
It works through all of them. Oh, you might have to